Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and I say, bah humbug to April Fool's Day chicanery. All up in this bitch. Ain't got no time for cheer and jubilant behavior on the Moon Family Sedan channel because the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit has not yet ended, though I will say, today, on April Fool's Day, the good news is that we didn't see a single crypto media article, so far as I'm aware anyway, didn't see a single crypto media article proclaiming falsely that the SEC v. Ripple case had ended, whether through settlement or through some sort of a decision regarding summary judgment. Didn't see a peep from crypto media on this. Though last year, in case y'all missed it, last year they did, and there were articles about the SEC case settling, and just, it's over and is in favor of the Ripple, and XRP is going to be fine. And I will tell you right now, the XRP community didn't take so kindly to that, because we are a no-nonsense type of crowd, right? We don't like jokes, but it did trick people, though. Like, I understand, like, that one's actually like, come on, because people actually have real stuff, real money invested in something. But I do want to share with you some stuff on this April Fool's Day, and there will be no chicanery. But look at this headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP only asset moving the market besides Bitcoin. And you know what's kind of interesting? Almost no crypto beyond Bitcoin has ever led the market. And I'm not saying that it completely did the same way here that I have seen in the past, but I'll kind of break it down further. But XRP is an absolute powerhouse. And there certainly is a potential to live in a world where XRP is dethroned as number one. So there's a world we could live in where Bitcoin itself becomes the altcoin. Though in the short term, I just want to put out a little smidgel of a warning because it comes from on-chain analytics firm Santiment. I'm a big fan of their work. They just look at on-chain analytics. They don't do technical analysis, and they try and come to reasonable conclusions about what the on-chain data means. And there's concern that perhaps in the short term, just the short term, we could see a little bit of a pullback, but that's part of what it is to be in crypto. So anyway, plenty to talk about. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, as I record this video, XRP is at 51 cents, and all sorts of crypto media outlets noticed that the price was going down today. For instance, here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. They note that XRP slumped 2.6% as of the time that they were writing this, and, fair enough. 24-hour high being a little shy of 54 cents, 24-hour low right at about 50 cents. And I just noted that it was interesting that as soon as April 1st hit, right around that moment in time, depending on where you live in the world, what your time zone is and all that, when that happened, it did seem to be the point where XRP started to drop, and it just made me wonder if there are some people that just a small percentage of people that got rid of their XRP positions because there wasn't a settlement by the end of March 31st, which for some, they were just absolutely expecting that. I don't know if that's the case, but I will say if anybody behaved in that capacity, that is ridiculous to me because we're still at a point where even though, yes, March has passed, there's no conclusion in the SEC v. Ripple case, it's still imminent. We could wake up any day and see that happen. So I don't know if that's what happened there. I do think that a strong bit of the price action that we've seen that's positive to the upside is people placing their bets against the SEC, which I think makes all the sense in the world. I think what's most probable is that we're going to get a positive ruling from Judge Torres specifically pertaining to XRP, even if Ripple loses. So no way to know for sure. We could get a horrendous ruling. I acknowledge that, and then price plummet. But I think that most people are not anticipating that's the most likely thing to occur here. And then as far as Bitcoin goes, it's at $28,528. Market cap for the asset class still over 1.2 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance at 45.55%. Most of the stuff's the same as in recent days. If you're in greed index, 63 out of 100, it's been hovering around there for some time. So market's still in greed. So happy to see that, you greedy sons of bitches. Into this article, XRP only asset moving the market besides Bitcoin. XRP has been regarded as the only crypto asset besides Bitcoin capable of determining the direction of the broader crypto market. I'll just pause to note, I respectfully disagree as much as I'd love for that to be true because XRP is my favorite crypto on the planet. And my largest individual crypto holding, ETH has had this effect before. And it's one of the biggest points I wanted to make on this is that although it's not common to see an altcoin lead the market, it has happened. There's historic precedent for this. but I've seen it happen only off the top of my head. I'm not saying there aren't additional coins that have caused it. Off the top of my head, I only can recall XRP and ETH doing that. And maybe you have some examples off the top of your head that where you'd say, no, it could happen here, and that's fine. I don't pretend to have all information in my head. But what's interesting is in those moments where that happens, especially if it's one of the larger cap coins, say in the top 10, Bitcoin responds. If there's a big move, and not always, but there have been moments where Bitcoin will then respond. You can see it on a chart. You can see XRP will start moving, then Bitcoin moves, then markets respond as a result of all of that. And it's just fascinating when that happens. Now, of course, there have been plenty of individual instances where XRP runs on its own. In fact, that's more commonplace. But it is fun to see and understand that XRP is a big enough powerhouse. It's such a rare coin. There's over 20,000 cryptocurrencies in existence. XRP has always been in the top 10. It's one of the most well-known cryptos on the entire damn planet. And it's rare for there to be an altcoin that has that kind of pull. And it's just, when it comes to what's going to be number one in market cap forever, look, I'm pro Bitcoin. I'm long Bitcoin. Is it always going to be number one in market cap? Is XRP ever going to take, is some other coin going to take that position? It's not the craziest thought. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it's totally plausible, by the way. Because, the way I look at it is ultimately, like in particular in a mature market, whatever coin is solving the biggest problem has a greater probability of being number one market, because the money's going to follow that ultimately. Now, there are caveats to that, because what if there are multiple coins that get certain amounts of market share, and then they're all solving that? Well, that's good for them, so price go higher than it otherwise would, sure. But if it's divvied up across multiple coins, and then Bitcoin's just there number one because it was there first, and so most money flowed into that, well, then it would make it harder for it to be supplanted. So there's a lot of things to consider. But in a mature asset class, yes, I would anticipate that those cryptos that solve the greatest problem, that's where the money flows. Which also led me to think, and I've been pondering this question for over half a decade now. Well, what's that mean for Bitcoin, given that on a layer one level, what's Bitcoin's use case? Store of value? What's it doing? You're not going to use it to buy stuff because, come on, 6-7 transactions per second. It's just an inferior blockchain compared to XRP and more modern technology. So does that mean that Bitcoin actually gets supplanted? Well, not so quick there either. In recent times, say within I don't know when I first started thinking along these lines, I don't know if it's been 9 months or a year, I don't know what it's been, but somewhat more recently, I've come to the realization that really any crypto that has sufficient value will have layer 2 technology come along that is going to more or less keep it in place, keep it to a point where it's not going to plummet to zero. It'll still have some value. And so funny enough, Lightning Network doing what it's doing, we'll see if it ever works sufficiently. I argue today that even though you could do some transactions with it, there are all sorts of technological limitations with payment channels, so on and so forth. But the scaling problem for Bitcoin has been solved using the XRP ledger and XRP specifically. Spend the Bits has solved this problem. And that's awesome. I love to see that. So that actually, if widely adopted, then Spend the Bits is helping ensure not just the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger, but the long-term viability of Bitcoin. And then that in turn helps ensure the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger, which could help keep Bitcoin in place, funny enough. But even if so, I'm fine with that. This is the broader point I'm making, is any coin that has value today, even though there are all sorts of scaling issues with pick your coin, just in a general sense. I know XRP, that's not a problem, but for many of them, whatever the technological limitation, doesn't even just have to be scaling. Whatever it is, there can and will be in the future, I believe, layer 2 technology that patches it, fixes the problem to a point that there will be such a focus on making that happen, that'll save the layer 1. That's the point that I'm making here. And so, but anyway, so they wrote here, this assertion recently sprang up following the recent market-wide upsurge. Notably, the surge came from XRP's latest solo rally. Quote, XRP is the only cryptocurrency apart from Bitcoin which is actually moving the entire market, end quote. Dirk Scheppens asserted in a tweet Friday. Scheppens, popularly known as XPunkDS, founded Xspectar, a community-driven NFT-based society on the XRP ledger. And so look, it's rare. It is true though, like XRP, there have been times over the years, and I pointed it out on the rare occasions where it's happened, where XRP starts moving, and then other participants in the space take notice that want to push prop up Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin starts running. it's pretty damn cool. I assume that a lot of Bitcoin maxis will be threatened once XRP really starts running, but that's just such a silly position. Just have a more open mind about the space. Stop being a stupid maximalist. There will not be one coin to rule them all. Maybe diversify your crypto portfolio and just grow up and stop being a little baby back biatcha. You know, just maybe that. Just an idea there. Just kind of floating an idea. And then there's this article from the Daily Hodl. Bitcoin turnaround incoming, ? Which is why my voice goes up like that at the end. Crypto analytics firm Sentiment says 5 indicators flashing warning signs. And I want to share some of this with you. Now, this was actually from yesterday, but they have another article. I'm going to pull up a second here where they have more from Sentiment today. So anyway, just check this out, because I do think that Sentiment really does good work. And just my humble opinion, which is the right word to say the word opinion, I personally think that on-chain analytics can be more interesting and more telling than technical analysis. Look, I appreciate the technical analysis, guys, and I do genuinely mean that. My God, it bores me to death. I do not want to be looking for myself. I'm interested in the opinions of the TA guys. I don't want to do that for myself. But when for some reason, and it's always subjective, and I'm sure some of you might feel the same, some of you won't. But when I'm looking at on-chain analytics, that's just showing me actual, very real human behavior. When you're talking about technical analysis, yes, it is about drawing upon what humans have done in the past, but there's a lot more guesswork in that. It's just my general sense of things. So again, it's valuable. I'm interested in it. But when it comes to on-chain analytics, it's just my natural feeling on this, having looked at this stuff for over half a decade. I'm just more genuinely interested, including when I'm looking at metrics for the XRP ledger. Recently, I'm looking very frequently, for instance, at how many new XRP ledger accounts have been opened. And it's interesting to see that move in a particular direction in tandem with the upward direction of price. It's another piece of the puzzle. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, piece reads as follows. A leading crypto analytics firm says that key indicators are signaling Bitcoin is on the verge of a bearish turn after an extended rally. In a new blog post, Sentiment says 5 indicators are flashing bearish for Bitcoin, even though the king crypto is moves closer to the $30,000 price level. According to Sentiment, the trading volume is cooling off. Quote, the recent rally saw pretty decent trading volume coming in at the start, which is a healthy sign. However, things started to slow down a little as we inch higher. Now we are observing a divergence in price and volume, which usually isn't a good thing, as it is signaling that there's exhaustion in the price action. End quote. And by the way, I wanted to note, part of the reason that this does carry more weight, because again, I do appreciate technical analysis, I really do. I'm not trying to just crap all over it. You know, there are all sorts of analysts, like for instance, Credible Crypto just popped in my head. In recent days, he's been warning that one possible outcome that he thinks has a reasonable amount of probability of actually occurring is that you could see Bitcoin dip a bit, potentially as low as $23,000. But he still believes structurally that you're going to see even after that, of course, more consolidation, then a burst on up to the upside. So I'm just saying, even if we get a scenario where Bitcoin goes down, and say that drags XRP price down as well, because it would bring the price of pretty much everything down, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's just another moment in time where we can watch the lemming retail speculators, have trouble with their emotions, basically. Piece continues. Next, Sentiment says that they wrote Sentiment, they meant Sentiment, says that the social volume and social dominance indicator is at a high level, which historically indicates the top of a price rally has arrived. Quote, Bitcoin's social dominance and social dominance... I'm sorry, I read that completely wrong. Bitcoin's social volume and social dominance are at its highest level in a year, indicating that the crowd is getting somewhat excited. This usually precedes a local top, end quote. According to Sentiment, the third bearish indicator is that long-term holders of Bitcoin are starting to become active again. Quote, since mid-March, we saw 2 such spikes between 2,800 and 3,000 Bitcoin that are pretty long-term, 5 years, being activated. Could it be due to the crypto crackdown or CFTC versus Binance case? Whichever the case, seems like some whale is probably feeling a little jittery about everything that's going on. And then there was this headline from the Daily Hodl today. Bitcoin whale movements now raising caution flags, says crypto analytics firm Sentiment. A leading crypto analytics firm is issuing an alert to Bitcoin holders that the large whale transactions over the past month could be a cause for concern for investors of the king crypto. Santiment says that the 5 biggest Bitcoin transactions so far this year all occurred in March, with the largest Bitcoin transfer worth about $564 million. According to Santiment's marketing director, Brian Quinlivan, nailed it, in a new blog post, the size of the Bitcoin transactions along with the decrease in Bitcoin's whale and shark population could suggest that large entities are locking in gains. Yeah, and by the way, I'll just pause to note that speaking of XRP leading markets, if we happen to be in a moment where Bitcoin's cratering down, even if just temporarily, say this is a proper indication that we're going to be perhaps be seeing that type of activity, which isn't a guarantee, fine. But if it does indeed happen, if we get news of a positive conclusion in the SEC v. Ripple case, positive for XRP holders at least, what might that do in stopping the plummeting of Bitcoin? Because would that provide enough, feeling of jubilance, which is not allowed on the Moon Family Sedan channel, as I cited at the outset of the video? Would it provide jubilant feelings? Would it push all of crypto? Because look, this idea, and I was talking about this on and off like for the last couple of days, really, and it is an interesting idea. This idea of there being an alt season triggered by XRP, and I don't want to rehash all of my opinions on that, but just in a nutshell, in case you missed it, I'll just note my personal perspective is that it's possible, but what's going to get the greatest movement out of large cap coins in particular? Well, it would certainly be XRP. That's where the spotlight is. That would be the one coin that actually has the legal clarity. Although I understand there could be appeals, but still it would be perceived as the one with the legal clarity there. Maybe everything else goes because like, hey, we can win too, even if our coin gets sued. So I could see that in theory happening to some degree at least. But those coins will not be the protected coins. It will be our beloved XRP. So it's just it'll be interesting to see on this topic of XRP leading markets. This is so consequential on a global level. Even if we had negative timing in terms of price action for crypto markets, the second that happens, wouldn't be surprised if it's just like, a whiplash maneuver where it's like, just jerks you back, and then you go in the other direction. But anyway, here's the quote from Santiment. Based on the very large transactions going on in March, as well as the 10 to 10,000 Bitcoin address tier continuing to slide down by percentage and taper off by total address, it does look like there are some legitimate caution flags to be wary of if you're hoping to see Bitcoin surge to $35,000 and beyond. The 5 largest transactions of 2023 thus far have all happened in March, and this seems to be a result of profit taking and fears of a top after the plus 70% rebound for Bitcoin. Okay, well, we'll see what happens, and there can be outside factors that influence, positive or negative direction that haven't yet occurred, of course. But again, just saying, even if we do see downward action, it's not like this is 2022, folks. The bottom was in this past November, unless there's a wild card incident. I firmly believe that. So even if you see, it'll be regular crypto volatility. That's what I'm trying to say. That's it. I ain't worried. I'm excited to be here. We got a lot of fun, which is not allowed on the Moon Family Sedan channel. We got a lot of fun ahead of us. It won't be here. No fun, no cheer, no being jubilant whatsoever. Not until the case is done, at least. But then, could it be Moon Lambo time? I've said too much. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan!